平常先把我们标出来，应该就是想要大家想要善意
做来不错。他们外交部没有列席，因为没有发生交战。
那时候应该还有
小孩基本上，他第一那个，他们两家人住很近。他说小孩3岁大概现在3岁多。
我觉得其实人生要这样来既然他愿意在下去，是他们这是好事情啊！所以你看，现在社会的问题变化很快啊，大陆日本台湾当地的变化快。
在上海要蔬菜的话，要赌博，还要打架，赌博赢了才有大白菜啊，约一大壶，用当筹码
啊，你说封城啊？
一个蔬菜他们说才700-800哦，但是
还有菜吃就不错了。
来中式为主。
而且上海都是都有地位的，影响很大嘞。家族的都是有很多事，全部从上海过来，不好玩。哦，又多一个了，3剑客。
没有这样。
Meeting starts. The president is reminding them.
Good afternoon, my fellow Rotarians. Meeting starts.
Rotarian, please all rise for the four-way test. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
it is true.
Second,
it is fair to all concerned.
Third,
will do well their friendships.
Fourth,
will be measured to all concerned.
Please be seated. Rotary song, PP Pass. Would you please lead us to sing? R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is no only sea. From north to south, from east to west, he promised will serve us best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. Thank you, P.P. Introduction of distant Rotarians and honorable guest. P.P. Please introduce the honorable guest.
不会的，我就是新社的，会的我知道。
Good afternoon, President Jimmy, and all distinguished guests, and my dear Rotarians. It's my great honor to introduce today's guest. First is Philippine, Dr. Philippine, today's speaker. Next is Oakley's wife, Jennifer. And Joyce's friend, Joseph. Ruth's friend, Serena Young. Welcome. And Jimmy's friend, Zhang Dunjie. Jimmy. Jimmy, I remember has attended our anniversary ceremony this year, and also attend Global 4 Global meeting last week, right? And welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. President Tsai.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have fewer member attend before, but we have a lot of guests today. It's our pleasure. And Jose already joined with us for 3 or 4 times, right? 3 times. Yeah, thank you for attending. And past 2 weeks on March 26 and 27, we have our second outing to Yilan, and I don't know, maybe it's the once of lifetime. we took the ferry to Turtle Island, and it was really bumping. But thank God when we arrived the island, the weather got really nice, so we were really lucky. Next, yeah, you can see the view. Everybody was kind of sick, but eventually we got covered. And on the way back to Taiwan Island, it was really all smooth. But I don't know how about you. I think once is enough for me. Next. And last Thursday, thanks for Irene and Koda, we had our group for informal meeting, and also thank Jimmy joined us, and we had a great lunch at the 小意大利. The restaurant has a really big garden, and if you haven't been there, you can give it a try. Next. And thank Catherine. She had a speech in our Interact Club at Taichung Ezhong last week, and she shared something about how to find the path of career for the young generation. So she's not here today, but thank her. And this was the badminton practice right after the second outing, and because I was too sick, so I couldn't join. This is my first time to have the how do you call that, absent. But good for all the 5 members. I think you had a great practice that day. Next. Okay, that's so my part of this week. Oh, hi, PBS, and long time no see. Okay, this is my part. Thank you.
Okay, Secretary's time. First, PNS, would you please give us a presentation for international service?
Good afternoon, President Jimmy and dear parents. The excited to announce a cultural education activity with International Science Museum will invite all families with interest into our this club, this meeting, vacation medical hub, and makes people prepared from the plane. We hope you will able to join us Saturday, April. Game is the program. It is the 111 multicultural activity, and our date is April 23, Saturday. We have two parts. One is 9 to 11 o'clock. The afternoon is 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock to 40. We're in the National Museum, second classical. If anyone or have interest in invite you, we have 10 teams, and each team have 2 or 3. Over the 4, we separate to 2 teams. Thank you. This is our program.
Thank you. Next, Chengqing Hospital will hold a wheelchair donation ceremony tomorrow at 11 o'clock. All members and spouses are welcome to attend. And please register with Anne today. Oh, this is a schedule tomorrow. It seems end in 20 minutes. Okay. And the next, Rotary Club of Kaohsiung Lighthouse will hold the 32nd Charter Anniversary Ceremony on May 28th. Looks like it's going to be held on a yacht this year. Please register with Anne if you are interested. And the last one is April board meeting will take place next week. All board members, please reserve your time to attend. Okay, program, speaker introduction. PBL, would you please introduce the speaker for us? My dear parents, before I introduce today's speaker, I would like to thanks to PP teacher, is Taiwan Zhongxin Shen. Yeah, thank you very much for his wonderful recommend today's speaker. And today's speaker is Dr. Philip Lin, and is the Dean for International Affairs, Director of International Students Affairs, and also Assistant Professor of Department of Mass Communication of Providence University. 他是静宜大学大众传播系的教授And Dr. Philip began to participate more in international affairs at Providence University from 2016. He was rewarded his master in global media and a PhD in communication and media research from the University of Westminster, UK, in UK. He is mainly teaching new media, international communication, game study, and social network culture at the Department of Mass Communication. Within 17 years study and work experience in London, he intended to bring more of his transnational background and knowledge to help the international students settled in Taiwan and to create an international campus environment. Today he will share the planning and executing internationalization of Providence University. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Lin. Thank you.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. You can call me Philip. Let me quickly introduce myself as well. Right, before coming back to Taiwan, like 9 years ago, I lived in London for like 17 years, and then so I recently, it's okay, then I'll keep going. I think the original topic I'm setting today is about executing internationalization. So today's topic is more, I put it in simple words. It's more about our university's efforts and inputs and what I can inject for myself to the university. So in the next 30 minutes or so, I'll just probably introduce the things we've been doing for the last few years. So, and also my own research is more about social media, social network, and how audiences react to the kind of new media environment we're creating today. But what I'll be talking later is more about on the administration work I have been doing in the past few years. So I joined the Office of International Affairs 4 years ago. So more of my attention on my job today is more about promoting education internationalization in Taiwan. And so later on in the PPT, I will also explain actually under this kind of higher education framework, especially in Taiwan, what we can do to at least to support the, to make the environment happen a bit, just a bit. Oh, and also before Chinese New Year in February, our office, the office OIA in Providence University, was also assigned by the Ministry of Education as one of the main project office to monitor the whole national recruitment of international students in the next 5 to 6 years. And I was honored to actually take the role as the principal investigator for this project. So it's quite big actually. And also we have to work with Ministry of Education. So let me quickly introduce Providence University a bit. It's one of the 3 Catholic universities in Taiwan. One is the Fuda in Taipei, and we've got Wenzhou in south, so we were in the middle. And also because of the founder established the university back in the old days, then we compare with other universities, PU, we've got the advantage to kind of establish a very mature global networks with our partner universities, whether in US or in the UK or everywhere in the world. And also, as I saw one of your flags earlier, is more about surf for the Rotary Club. So I think for Providence University, we have the very similar mission as well, surrounding this kind of Catholic spirit. The first one is to reflect our knowledge in the light of faith, okay? And the second is to provide a kind of institutional commitment to the service of the people. And the third is to deliver the kind of Christian and keep the fidelity to Christian message as expressed by the Catholic tradition. And also the university is 65 years old. The founder is Providence, the sister Providence, and we have students roughly about 12,000, and 10% are international students. And also we now have all the students coming from 32 countries all over the world. Whether before COVID or during the COVID, we actually have increasing international students. Most people believe that COVID blocked the interest of international students to flow. Actually not. I mean, to look at the whole Taiwan, you will see every university has increasing foreign students, even during COVID. So we have about 12% international students. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we has established a very mature web with other universities. So we have now 400 partner universities all over the world. And before COVID, we sent about 700 students to go abroad to study everywhere in the world. And this is roughly the number of our partners. So we have 57 partners in the US, 27 partners in Middle and South America, and also 91 partners in Europe, and the rest in Southeast Asia. We established in the last few years with the sake of southbound policy. So we begin to work harder in the Southeast Asia region. And these are a few examples of our partners. You can see here. So we've got America's University of Mississippi or Utah, and Europe we have worked with CBS International Business School, and also some in Netherlands. And in Asia we work with Nanjing, Nankai universities, and that's why I think during the pandemic we still have about 50 exchange students coming from the Europe, from Czech or from France, etc. And the meaning of internationalization, let me quickly clarify. For most of the international office, they stick to the three things to push for internationalization. So the definition of internationalization can be split into the administrations on work on international students recruitment, meaning for university they have to recruit more international students. And also the second is to stick to the idea of academic exchanges, including research exchanges, means co-working research projects between professors, or students exchanges, inbound or outbound, whether it's long-term or short-term. So we still have a lot of European students that come for 1 semester or 1 year. And the last thing is probably, the thing I think is really important, is to open more cultural kind of activities to increase the kind of cultural awareness and understandings between different cultures. So this kind of culture curriculums is probably the base to settle the idea of internationalization. So these are the international organizations Providence University has worked with. We are one of the first member of the ISEP. ISEP is the Global International Student Exchange Programs, starting from the US as well. So only in ISEP we have more than 300 overseas schools in this program. And also recently we have this Erasmus Plus program designed by Europe to increase teachers' mobility, staff mobility, and student mobility. And only last 2 years we started to work on the AACSB, a kind of global reckoning system, accounting system, right? So quickly introduce the Providence University's academic departments. We have roughly 6 colleges. So on your left side is the Humanity and Social Science department. And also the literature and foreign languages. It's also the departments we started, at the very beginning. And also College of Science, College of Management, and also Computing and Informatics, recently focused on AI or big data teaching. And the one on your right is the International College. In this college, we only provide full English programs. So these are the English programs we have provide for international students. So we have freshman liberal education program, international business administration, English literature, and international program in computer science. That's the latest one, the new one we designed from last year. And also 2 full English taught master degrees in business administration, and also we have this global triple degree program where we have students coming from Mexico and Austria. Basically, we kind of put them together in one class and move to Mexico, Austria, and Taiwan. So it's a triple degree program. They can visit 3 countries basically and learn 3 cultures and get 3 degrees. So that's before COVID-19. Everything was really good. I mean, Providence University spent a lot of time and efforts to maintain the growth and the health growth of internationalization within the campus. But what happened is we are facing COVID. So the number of international students before COVID, and I think in roughly end of 2019 and 2020 is when COVID happened. So you can obviously see, even though foreign students still increasing, the number of foreign students still increasing. To 2021, last year, we now have breakthrough of more than 500. So since I took over from 2017, there were only 180, I think. So we have a significant increasement on foreign students. And for exchange students, short-term, 1 semester or 1 year, there's a significant decline number here because they can't get visa due to COVID. So now every university has less exchange short-term students. And the next one is the overseas Chinese students declining also. I think because there's a huge crisis happening for the overseas Chinese, how they identify themselves as part of the Taiwanese Chaoshen foreign Chinese. And then so I think for mainland Chinese student as well. So we have a huge decline between overseas Chinese and mainland Chinese students. That's why in the next 7 to 8 years, the government is pushing to make sure there has to be a very huge increasement on foreign students so we can face the low birth rate together, all right? And also we have short-term Mandarin study students also declining from this year, only from this year. The government opened the border for Mandarin study students. So now, I think from 2022, we have increasing number here. So right before COVID, it's all fairy tale, very good. We can organize a lot of events, physical face-to-face events, but only when the COVID began, we have to spend time to help foreign students to come in to sort out their visa problems and their studies and etc. Spend a lot of efforts on that at the beginning. And these are the events you can see. We still organize international collaboration forums, and also we organize this kind of industrial university matching events, and also we organize all kind of events that can make students happy. Right. Also, we have outbound programs, send students abroad, inbound programs, where we call it 411 study abroad fair. Means within 4 years you can go short-term exchange or long-term exchange for 1 year or 1 semester. And also we organize picnic day, and we also work on the research research energy. So personally, I also, once the university environment is totally affected by the COVID, everything starts to shifting online. So the last two pictures you see is the kind of shifting things we do, activities we do for mobility and short-term program online, all online. And it's very difficult. So during the COVID-19, what happened to education institutions? They have to adjust, spend a lot of time adjust. So we do online cultural exchanges programs online. We teach them how to make Taiwanese food. Online is very difficult because they can't find the ingredients there. So, but we still have to, keep it warm, between students and between this kind of relationship with our partners outside, right? And also we have organized this kind of online cultural exchanges. We open like dialogues, for them to talk about what happened and what they want to do after COVID-19 to maintain the kind of connection between Europe and Asia. And also, we also work on SDGs, the hottest topic. I think recently all the universities are digging into this SDGs project big hole. It's about how to take up your social responsibilities to make sure your university affect the society in real, right? And so we also, at the same time, we have one of our staff that organize this kind of global, they kind of call for hundreds of students from all our partners to join this kind of conversation to talk about what happened, how their life affected by the COVID-19. And so that's why we adjust in the last 2 years. And then we also extend our help because the loading for our international office is declining as well. We don't have to fly to other universities to recruit students anymore. So we extend the help to focus on local international students who already are in Taiwan. But for example, on your left side, a student lose their job because of COVID. They have to work part-time, but they lose their job. And then we start to give them like food vouchers. And also we start to collect resources for them to make sure they can continue their study well here. So we do a lot of adjustments during COVID. And so what can we do for the future? I think for the next step, we are more like into a transition on digitalization. So I think Taiwan still is a bit slow on this. If you look at US and UK, what have all the universities benefit from the COVID is they are forced to transfer the resources and teaching energy there by adopting digital tools. So I think I keep warning our university as well that it's what we're supposed to do. Long distance learning is definitely what happened. For example, one of my students told me last night he had this, I think he's visited some of the COVID-19 pass. So he cannot come to university. So this morning I kind of reopened the Teams software and make sure that he can still catch up the lecture this morning. So also we have these are the list of like global education events organized every year for all the educators. But because of COVID-19, actually they're all cancelled and changed into the online mode. So how can we maintain this partnership? We actually design a kind of framework based on 4 things. One is a webinar and online promotion keep going, and also we focus on how re-merge of the idea of global and local together to the globalization, and also trying to maintain international collaboration. So webinar, we have a lot of events, as you can see here. It's all like webinars we organize with our own partners in the Europe, in the US, everywhere. So it's very difficult, I have to say, it's very difficult. And also international collaboration, we invite lectures or scholars to make online teaching lectures to Europe or to the US students. And also, the kind of COIL, collaborative online international learning, to work with like Thailand and other countries. And also we call for actions. We still initiate these online exchange activities in order to maintain the international relationship and partnership, and just to encourage local students to participate and understand what happens outside of Taiwan as well. So they can, it's more like a tea time dialogues we create for the students outside and local students together. So what I have to say is that education is basically equals to diplomacy. International education environment is heavy. It's actually something addressed to diplomacy. For example, before Chinese New Year, we have this Uganda students problem. It actually damaged the kind of human rights indications of Taiwan. And also, so for one issue that can damage your national brand in a way. So international education actually equals to diplomacy. So how can we use our soft power to promote Taiwan? So we normally focus on convenience. Taiwan is convenient in comparison with other countries. We focus on in Taiwan, we like to say CP 值, right? Taiwan is all about CP 值. So convenience, and also we promote friendly and kind. So the most beautiful scenery we always say in Taiwan is people. But for people live there, normally deny the saying here, right? We think, really? Taiwanese people are friendly and kind? Yeah, more or less. Okay, so it's one of the key things we can use to promote Taiwan. Yeah, it's one of the most friendly countries. But to be honest, when I visit Thailand, I think Thailand is very competitive in this category. They're also very friendly, right? If you've ever been there, right? Okay. And also, for the food culture is one thing that we can use as one of the soft powers. And also the bookshop, nice, especially bookshop. And also the kind of popular cultures. We use to have very long influence of popular music and entertainment in Southeast Asia. And then we should kind of promote it, use it as one of the soft power. And Mayday, they still visit everywhere, And students do come to Taiwan to study because of these celebrities or singers. Yeah, and also in the last 2 years, because the political chaotic situation in Hong Kong, we do have Hong Kong students, large numbers, they start to move to here. And when I asked them, some of them say because they love some of the Taiwanese singers, so they want to study and look at them, and then get away from Hong Kong. Yeah. Right. So the influence of Taiwan's soft power, most importantly, should be based on the freedom in comparison with many countries. I think students like to enjoy the freedom here, so it's one of our strongest soft power, I believe. And also, there's a saying about Taiwan. It's like Chinese blood, we have this kind of Japanese system and American style. Whether you believe it or not, I don't know whether you believe it or not, I think it's one of the advantages. Normally, I use this to promote and we get really good feedback as well. Yeah, but you can still doubt about that. And also, one thing we have to remove the kind of general stereotype from the outsiders' thoughts is normally they think Taiwanese politics are chaotic. It's like there's a problem. It's always campaigns, always people complain about everything. If you ask international students, but actually for me, I'll normally explain the chaotic politics actually signifies two things. One is the rooted civil rights awareness, and it's something we should treasure. And the second thing is we have the rights to fight for our social injustice, and that's very important. And that's I think that's the same reason why Rotary Club and also as well as Providence University, we all stick to the same ideas to serve the society and make it better. And also one thing is that Taiwan does not equal to Taipei only, yeah. But for outside, they ask them, foreign students, for the ones they haven't been to Taiwan, they normally have the idea about 101 Tower, and then they don't know what outside Taipei it's like, yeah. Okay, so for the kind of educational environment we are facing today is the biggest problem, one of the biggest problem is the lower birth rate is hitting 150 universities in the next 6 to 8 years. So more chances should be created for overseas students. Yeah. And the low birth rate means it's really hard to imagine in 6 years or 8 years, I think between this period, we have only like 100,000 per year to apply to study at universities. And for the top universities, national university, they have the quota of 60,000, I think. 60,000, yeah. And then meaning all the other universities, private universities, they have to share the rest of 20 to 40,000 students. And we are not still counting for the ones they after COVID they'll move to other countries to study as well. So it's crazy. So that's the biggest problem. So that's why we need international students to come in. And also the number of mainland China students face huge cost due to unstable political relationship. For example, in Providence University, we now only have 50 mainland China students, and we are waiting for them to graduate. And then we have no more mainland China students to come in. And that's a big problem, because we all know education can benefit the students from the other side, right? But yeah, and it's really sad. And also internationalization will play as a key trend for higher education. We still face huge competitiveness with universities abroad. We have to compete with US, UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, even Korea. Korea's education is getting better and better because of K-pop. All the students from everywhere, they want to see, BTS, the boy band in Korea. So they use that to attract a bunch of international students. It's crazy. So we have to find our advantages there. And also government pushes for new power policy from 5 years ago. So that's why we start to attract a lot of students from Southeast Asia, especially Vietnam. So, and also more local opportunities should open for foreign students, but it shouldn't come from the universities only. It has to come from the industry and every one of you here as well, to create the kind of opportunities for graduates to stay and to create their willingness to stay in Taiwan. And we all face generational gap issues, problems there. So more new immigrants from East Asia and Southeast Asia can actually benefit Taiwanese society to create a more diversified culture here. So it's more about creating cultural respect as well. So the process of, the last part I want to talk about is the process of Taiwan's higher education internationalization is like, time frame is like this. In 2002, we joined WTO, and then that's how we start to join this global education race and market. And the government started to promote international education policy. And that's how every university started to initiate a higher education internationalization plan. And in 2004, we have higher education was listed in the National Development Planning. And it offers MOE, Ministry of Education, Taiwan Scholarship, and Huayu Scholarship Program. So that's why we start to use traditional Chinese as a tool to promote. And from 2005, we start to invest in education centers and research centers to establish in like all universities. And in 2010, so it's very short. Within 20 years, especially in the last 10 years, we started to make it to see as one of the export industries. So education is export industries. For example, in UK, I think it's listed as top 3 industry education to attract international students. So from 2001, mainland China students are allowed to come to Taiwan for studying. So only within 10 years it's been cut here, right? So 2016, a new southbound policies, and recently the government is doing this 2021 bilingual education policy and Taiwan's Hua-Yu-based program. And I just saw a number yesterday provided by Ministry of Education. They are aiming to have triple number of international students in the next 7 to 8 years. And also they're aiming to have 10 times international students who graduate here to stay here for work. So the relationship between lower birth rate and internationalization is, so these are a few numbers. In 2008, there were only 33,000 international students in Taiwan, but look at the number. 2018, it has increased triple. But in the next few years, they want more. You know, we want more to help the society. So in the past, the international higher education is concentrated in Chinese-speaking market. That's a problem. So the Red Ocean strategy makes the whole thing, 150 universities, tremendously competitive. And also the price competition is about lowering your fees to attract students. And also we lower our recruitment criteria, so students level are declining as well. And then there are a lot of issues. And also we use, like, some of the university use illegal agency to attract students. That's a problem as well. So this is the last quote I'm saying here. Taiwan's education internationalization should have the functions of improving diplomacy, improving higher education level, and reducing the low birth rates, and enhancing local students' global view. And that's very important. So there are a lot of dimensions and aspects we have to cover if we really, in Taiwan, if we really want to work on something. Yeah. So the last 3 points here is the reality and impacts of higher education in Taiwan we are facing. One is we have to definitely deepen our internationalization actions based on cultural respects. For example, within the campus, we have so many cultural conflicts between students. And I think that has to do with, like, consultation and education system. And so we have to work hard if we want to keep our numbers up. And also we have learned universities and education institutions definitely have to adopt digital transformations and digital tools. And also the last part is, for the industry, for the companies, for organizations, for education institutions, we all need global talents. So only through the things that I think that we can work together. So that's the end of my presentation. Quickly, just to give you an idea of what Office of International Affairs do and what we are all going to do. Providence University is only one of the 150 universities are doing this. I think it's very similar. All the universities are actually working on the same thing. So you have any questions? I can help? So I'm going to stop here. Is that okay? Yeah?
Any question?
Right.
Thank you so much for the speech. It's good news that it sounds like the number of international students are actually increasing, right, during the pandemic instead of decreasing. I'm just wondering, what are some more popular majors these international students in Taiwan study in? What are some most popular majors, like subjects?
Oh, the subjects. Right. I think, to be honest, I think Ministry of Education, I think in Taiwan we have local needs for engineering or science-related subjects, right? But if you look at the numbers, to be honest, if you look at the numbers in 2018 or 19, most of the students come to study humanity and social science or arts and design as well. We have like 1/3 of students coming to do this. So I have to say Ministry of Education hasn't designed a proper plan to categorize different social level students attached to different industries. But I think we kind of reserve, in Taiwan, the kind of humanity, arts rules that other countries cannot provide. For example, for Hong Kong students, for Hong Kong is a very competitive, economy-driven society. But most of students from Hong Kong coming to study in Taiwan, they actually do design or even petting, pets, like subjects in pets. So for the government, I think they have to work on a proper plan to fit into different, for example, different countries, they have different needs. They have different needs where we can provide. But from the numbers, we can see is social science and humanity-related subjects. We attract them more. But if we are targeting like talents, really talents, top, high-end, like quality students, means our teaching quality has to catch up as well. And I think the biggest problem is that in the last 30 years, our education environment, similar to the globalization idea we stick to, is about Chineseization. It's like we only have to stick out to our Chinese market. It's big enough. So we have foreign students, mainland China students and foreign students to come in, and Malaysian students, so we don't have to prepare English for them. But actually what happened, as you can see the numbers, for foreign students, they have huge demands on fully English taught courses. But as far as I know, for national university, even they are struggling to provide fully English taught courses in the subjects they need as well. That's what happened to the Uganda students. They promise they have English courses to provide, but they come to have only Chinese courses on the table. So and that's a huge lie, provided by the university. So I think but as far as I know, we are working on a project with the Ministry of Education now. Actually, it's gonna go on board from next week nationally. The government wants to attract. They have like 5+2 in the industry, right? Like the concentrate 5+2 industry. They want to focus on these industries and push universities to attract students to join this 5+2 industry subjects, related subjects. Yeah.
Any other question for Philip? No? Okay, I think globalization and internalization is not only we have to work in school system and also education system, also in our society, we all need to keep up. And thank you, Philip, for the speech today. Thank you.
Right.
Attendance report. If you write in